One moment of anger destroyed my future. I killed a man while trying to protect my little brother, never imagining I would lose him before I got out of prison.
Hey families, welcome back. I truly appreciate you spending your time here and keeping these powerful stories alive.
The cold in the prison yard had a way of crawling into your bones and staying there. My breath came out in short, shaky clouds as I pushed the heavy mop across the concrete floor of the laundry hall. My hands were cracked from the chemicals, my back aching from hours of work no one would ever thank me for. Every movement felt heavier than the last, but I kept going. Pain was something I had learned to carry quietly. 21 years earlier, I had made a choice that turned me into inmate number 84726. I killed a man, the man who had hurt my little brother. He was only 14 then, small for his age, still sleeping with the hallway light on because he was afraid of the dark. When I found out what had been done to him, something inside me snapped like a rope pulled too tight. I didn't think about consequences. I didn't think about prison. All I could think about was that my baby brother needed someone to stand between him and the world. So I did. The judge called it murder. I called it protection. 29 years. That was the sentence. My mother fainted in the courtroom when she heard it. My brother cried out my name as they led me away in chains. I remember turning back to look at him one last time, trying to smile so he wouldn't be afraid, even though my own heart felt like it was being ripped out of my chest. Prison hardened some people, but it hollowed me out instead. Days blended into each other. Metal doors slamming, guards shouting, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. I learned to survive by staying invisible. Keep your head down, speak only when necessary, never show weakness. But at night, when the noise faded and the darkness settled in, I would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about him, wondering if he was safe, wondering if he still remembered the sound of my voice reading to him before bed. Those memories were the only warmth I had left. There was one person who seemed to notice me, though, the old janitor everyone ignored. She moved slowly, her gray uniform hanging loosely on her thin frame, pushing her cart from hallway to hallway while inmates and guards alike walked past as if she were invisible. Most people assumed she was just another low-level worker assigned to the prison, but sometimes I would catch her watching me. Not in a threatening way, more like she was studying me, the way a teacher watches a student they believe in but haven't spoken to yet. Once, when I slipped on the wet floor and nearly fell, she steadied the bucket with her foot so it wouldn't spill, then gave me a small nod before moving on. No words, just a quiet act of kindness in a place where kindness was rare. I never even learned her name. 8 months before my release date, the fragile routine of my life shattered.
Captain wants you in his office immediately. No explanation given. Just move. And, brace yourself, all right? Something's not right today.
Why is everyone staring at me like that? What happened? You don't pull someone in here unless something's gone terribly wrong.
Please sit down. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. You're going to need to hear this carefully.
I'll stand. Sitting makes it real. Just say whatever you called me here to hear.
You're allowed a phone call. Take your time dialing. Some news shouldn't be heard from strangers.
Come on, pick up. Please pick up. You promised you'd always answer when it was me calling.
I'm truly sorry. Your brother passed away this morning. They said it was peaceful, if that helps at all.
No, that's not possible. He was supposed to be waiting outside those gates for me. He promised me he would.
He kept talking about your release, how proud he was of you. He was counting every single day like it mattered. I wasn't there when he needed me most. After everything we promised each other, I couldn't even say goodbye.
After the call ended, I walked out to the yard in a daze. The world looked the same gray walls, the same watchtowers, the same inmates pacing in circles, but everything inside me had changed. I found an empty corner near the fence and sank to the ground. the cold concrete pressing through my thin uniform. For the first time since the day of my sentencing, I cried without trying to hide it. I cried for the little boy I couldn't protect anymore. I cried for the years we had lost. I cried because freedom was so close I could almost touch it, and now the only person I wanted to share it with was gone. Somewhere across the yard, the old janitor had stopped sweeping. I didn't see her face, but I felt her presence, standing still, watching from a distance as if she understood that something sacred had just broken. In that moment, I felt more alone than I ever had in my life, unaware that someone in that yard was about to change my fate.
If anger ever cost you something, comment H. Ealing below and like to support stories of redemption.
I stayed in that corner of the courtyard until the sun dipped low and the concrete beneath me turned cold. Time had lost all meaning. Around me, prison life moved on with its usual rhythm. Guards shouting orders, inmates pacing in slow circles, distant metal doors slamming. But I felt like I had been cut loose from the world. My chest ached as if something inside it had collapsed, leaving an empty space that hurt every time I breathed. Guilt wrapped itself around my thoughts like barbed wire. If I hadn't been in prison, if I had been there, maybe things would have been different. Maybe I could have protected him again, the way I did when he was 14 and terrified of the world. The questions had no answers, but they kept coming anyway. A guard eventually approached and told me it was time to return to the unit. His voice lacked its usual sharpness. I pushed myself to my feet, legs trembling, and walked back inside without saying a word. The fluorescent lights burned my eyes after the soft daylight of the yard, making everything feel harsher, more real. In my cell, my cellmate took one look at my face and understood. When I told her my brother was gone, she didn't offer empty comfort. She simply nodded and turned down the volume on the small radio she kept by her bunk, giving me the silence I didn't know I needed. In prison, that kind of quiet respect was a rare form of kindness. That night, sleep never came. I lay staring at the ceiling, replaying memories like fragments of a life that belonged to someone else. My brother as a skinny kid trailing behind me. My brother sitting across from the glass during visits, trying to smile so I wouldn't worry. My brother laughing at stories about the outside world I could barely remember anymore. I realized with a hollow shock that I would never hear that laugh again. Morning brought no relief. The routine resumed as if nothing had happened. Count, breakfast, work detail, but each step felt heavier than the last. By midday, word had spread. A few inmates approached quietly, offering condolences in awkward, sincere ways. Many of them had suffered similar losses from behind bars, parents buried without them, children grown or gone, funerals attended only in imagination. Their stories reminded me that prison didn't just take freedom, it stole goodbyes.
I heard about your brother. You don't have to carry that alone. Do you want to talk about what you're feeling? Talking won't bring him back. It just makes everything louder in my head, like I can't escape it anywhere. There's a funeral service soon, and they can transport you in restraints, heavy guard, but
No. I won't let them see me like that, They chained, surrounded, like I'm still nothing but a prisoner.
it wouldn't change how your family feels about you. They'd just want you there, no matter the circumstances. My brother wouldn't want his last memory of me to be that either. I already lost him. I won't lose myself too.
Grief comes in waves, anger follows, but healing takes time. You won't walk this road alone, even if it feels endless.
There is a chance you could attend the funeral, but you would be restrained, escorted, visible to everyone there.
I couldn't let them remember me like that. Chained, watched,
powerless, not as the sister who protected him.
No, I can't go like that. He wouldn't want to see me that way.
The decision felt like losing him all over again. Days blurred into each other, grief arriving in unpredictable waves. Sometimes I could function for hours before a memory ambushed me, a phrase he used to say, a song he once mentioned, even the way sunlight fell through the yard the same way it had during his last visit. Each reminder reopened the wound. One evening in the laundry hall, my hands froze over the sink as the reality settled in fully. The future I had survived for no longer existed. For nearly 30 decades, every plan, every fragile hope had included walking out of those gates and seeing him waiting. Now, freedom itself felt unfamiliar, almost frightening. That was when the old janitor appeared beside me, silently replacing an empty soap dispenser. Up close, I noticed her eyes, sharp, observant, far more alert than her frail posture suggested. She didn't offer pity. She simply said,
I see how hard you're holding yourself together. You don't have to pretend you're not hurting right now.
People here don't say things like that unless they want something. What do you want from me?
Grief doesn't make you weak. It means you loved someone deeply enough to leave a wound behind.
No one's ever said that to me before, not since I got here. They only see charges, not who I was.
I see a sister who lost someone she loved. That matters more than anything written on your file.
She gave a small, understanding smile before moving on, her cart rattling softly down the corridor. I watched her go, unaware that the person everyone dismissed as nobody had just become the only steady presence in the storm my life had become, or that her role in my story was far greater than I could possibly imagine. 8 months remained until my release. 8 months to learn how to step into a world without my brother in it.
If you think the janitor knew more than she showed, comment SHE knew. Like and subscribe now for the reveal.
The weeks after my brother's death dragged by like heavy chains. Every morning I woke with the same cruel illusion. For a few seconds I forgot. Then the truth crashed back down. He was gone, and I was still behind bars, unable to do anything except breathe through the pain. I forced myself into motion because stillness was dangerous. I walked laps in the yard until my legs burned, lifted weights until my arms shook, scrubbed floors long after my shift ended. Movement kept the grief from swallowing me whole. From a distance, the old janitor watched, her quiet presence as constant as the gray walls around us. One afternoon, a correctional officer made a careless joke within earshot, laughing about how inmates always have a sob story. The words sliced through me, my fists clenched, anger rising fast and hot, the same anger that had destroyed my life once before. Before I could react, a mop handle slid gently between us. The janitor's calm voice cut through the tension. "Walk away," she said softly, not to the officer, to me. I did. That moment saved me from losing the last chance I had at freedom. Soon after, strange things began happening. My paperwork, which had been stalled for months, suddenly moved forward. My counselor mentioned that an anonymous advocate had been pushing for my early release review, citing my clean record and years of mentoring younger inmates. Small care packages appeared, books about rebuilding life after prison, a pair of warm gloves for the cold mornings, even a letter reminding me that someone believed my life still mattered. I had no idea who was behind it. 8 months later, I stood in a stark administrative room, summoned without explanation. The air felt thick with anticipation. Then the door opened, and the janitor walked in. No gray uniform, no cleaning cart. She wore a tailored suit, her posture straight, her presence commanding. The prison warden followed behind her. She wasn't a janitor. She was the head of the state's prison oversight board, a woman who had spent years working undercover to expose corruption and identify inmates worthy of a second chance. She said,
"You protected others even when nobody protected you. That matters more than anything written in your file. I saw how you carried your pain, and your stunned gaze moved me deeply. You don't have to carry his faith alone anymore, because I'm standing here because he never stopped believing in you. Your brother believed you could become more than your worst mistake. I believe that too. Too. You protected others, even when no one protected you."
Oh my God!
My knees nearly gave out as the truth settled in. All those quiet moments, all those silent acts of kindness, she had been studying me, waiting for proof that I would choose compassion over anger. My release was approved that day, but she did something more. She arranged for me to speak at a disciplinary hearing involving the officer whose cruelty had pushed me to the edge. Instead of punishment, she gave me a choice: recommend consequences that reflected the values I claimed to live by now. I asked that he be reassigned to community service inside the prison, working directly with inmates' families during visitation days, seeing the human cost of incarceration up close. Not revenge, understanding. When I finally walked out of the gates, freedom felt fragile and overwhelming. My brother's wife embraced me, her tears soaking into my shoulder as she whispered,
Your brother never stopped believing in you.
I looked up at the open sky, wishing he could see me now. Days later, I stood at his grave, the wind brushing softly against my face. I told him everything, how I almost lost myself to anger again, how a stranger's quiet faith had pulled me back, how his love had carried me through the darkest years. I promised him I would live a life that honored the sacrifice that bound us together. Starting over was hard. Doors closed when people saw my record, but one door stayed open. The woman who had saved me helped me find work mentoring at-risk youth, turning my story into a warning and a source of hope. I told them the truth. Anger can steal your future in seconds, but love can rebuild it piece by piece. Years later, I still miss him every day. Grief doesn't disappear, it changes shape, but so does strength. I went to prison for protecting my little brother. I walked out determined to protect the future of others. If there's one thing my life taught me, it's this: a single act of love can echo far beyond the moment it was given. My brother saved me just as much as I tried to save him, and now, every day I live free is a way of saying thank you. One moment of anger destroyed my future, stealing decades of freedom, family, and peace, teaching me violence never protects what truly matters. I went to prison to protect my little brother, believing I saved him, never imagining I would lose him before I could come home. Prison taught me the cruelest truth: time keeps moving without you, and the people you love can disappear before you return home.
If this story touched your heart, comment FOR him. Like, share, and subscribe to honor someone you miss. Comment the name of someone you wish could see you now. Like, subscribe, and share this message of love.